right, welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Actually, Tim's the host for today. Tim, you are the host for today. So I'll let you bring us in. We're here. I'll start out. We're here live on WYSL, 1040 AM, 92.1 FM, 95.5 FM. And we can take call-ins today, too, by the way, 585-346-3000. Other stations, Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, listen. The other stations, WENY, WENI out in Corning, New York, and WACK, Newark, New York, and Elmira, Corning area. I know I'm not getting that perfect, but I've been practicing, and I think I'm getting better, period.
We'll get it. We'll get it. And, of course, we're streaming online, folks, on the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, the Kevin Wilson Facebook page, and now the Tim O'Connor for Liberty Facebook page, too.
Yeah.
More coming up as well. We'll see.
So, guys, I'm absolutely honored to be a part of the Voice of Liberty and a Free Solution with Kevin Wilson. Kevin and I are both active members of the Libertarian Party in New York State. But I want to give you guys a little bit about who I am and what I've done with my life and why maybe you want to tune into these shows with us, all right? Number one, guys, I grew up in Central New York my entire life. I'm 54 years old. I've been raised in the Central New York region. I lived in Binghamton when I went to college at SUNY Binghamton. I lived in Syracuse for a little while when I started my restaurant professional career. I was a manager at Rosie O'Grady's. So it's a big, huge operation, absolute blue-collar working man bar. And guys, I loved it. I had an absolute blast there. I actually met Matt Driscoll, and I don't know if you guys know who Matt Driscoll is, but he's actually the director of the New York State Thruway system. He's a Democrat, but guys, as they're removing the toll booths and stuff like that, and traveling gets a little bit smoother, he's spearheading that. And he's not a bad guy. He was always a nice guy. I don't think our politics would align very much anymore, but he's still a good guy. So I grew up, I was a poor kid growing up in Central New York. We moved to a farm when I was about 12 years old, and I literally hated it, okay? Farming is absolutely, guys, you gotta love your local farmers. They're putting food on the table. The work is grueling. The work is hard. Basically, in New York, we've destroyed the family farm, but when we talk about solutions, I have solutions that can help our family farms maintain, grow, and even answer the needs of a greener environment. So we'll get to those in future shows. I somehow managed to work my way out of that situation and attend a pretty decent college in SUNY Binghamton, down in Binghamton, New York. Harper College. I majored in economics, and economics, guys, is the study of human interaction, regardless about money supply and stuff like that. Microeconomics is the study of human interaction and what brings people to the table to interact with each other. Okay. So I spent 4 years trying to figure that stuff out. Not sure I quite got it right. I spent a lot of time learning about how to analyze data and how to craft hypotheses to be tested. And so those things lend itself to a radio conversation. I've been a lifetime listener of talk radio, guys. I'm not even kidding. Like, I listen to Rush Limbaugh. I listen to NPR. The shows, like the afternoon shows on, I don't want to mention another radio station that might be our competition. Let's not even put it out there. But basically, that experience, I participated in a radio contest, and guys, I got like 4 minutes on air. I blew it. It was the worst experience of my life. It was literally humiliating. And so somebody else won. They won a big, huge free.
I asked him to join the show.
Somebody won this big, huge $1,500 pool table. I wasn't even in the top 2. Okay. And it was like out of 8 people. But this is like the lifetime dream being actualized here, sharing some radio time with Kevin Wilson and all you folks out there on the Voice of Liberty.
Yeah, right on. And folks, again, the way the new schedule is going to work, Larry's the, Tuesday host still. He's still going to be around once a week, just getting a little bit busy. I think he's got a book coming out. So he has to go to 1 day a week, and that's why we brought Tim in. And so now I'm going to be hosting Mondays, Wednesdays, and on Fridays, Tim and I think we're going to be hosting together. So we'll do that. And then Tim's going to be whatever he's going to be doing on Thursday. He might be alone. He might be with the guests. It's going to be his deal. So we're going to get that new perspective. And guys, we're a statewide show now. We got me out in Rochester, Tim out in Central New York, Larry down in New York City. We're covering the whole state. This is truly a statewide show. We're getting there. We're building it up.
We are, and we're talking about freedom and liberty, and we're talking about it across the state. And I mean, I'd love to see this turn into a 3 or 4 hour a day event, but we still have like,
Who's got time for that?
I know we still have to make a living and stuff like that. So that's going to be a challenge. So Kevin and I regularly kick around ideas about things that we want to talk about and what we think could grow people's understanding of liberty. And guys, if you've paid any attention to my Facebook page or my Tim for Liberty page, I pretty regularly bash what I call the mainstream media. And I think everybody kind of gets a sense that the mainstream media, whether it's your Fox Newses or your CNNs, they're playing this emotional game with you to try to stimulate you into responding to their clicks on their Facebook pages or on their websites, or listening just a slight bit longer to their television show so that their ratings maintain. They're basically trying to sell advertising. They're trying to stimulate your mind, your id, to sell advertising. And so they deliberately kind of mislead you, and they deliberately kind of play both sides of the ball. So when I want to relate it directly to this latest COVID fiasco, right? And guys, if you have questions about this, post the comments. If you want to talk to me or Kevin personally on the phone, please give us a call. I will get the number memorized, but I don't have it yet.
I got you. You got to do what I do. I wrote it down in front of me on my computer screen.
Beautiful.
I have to memorize it. 585-346-3000. That's 585.
I can't even read my own handwriting though, Kevin. That's a problem.
Oh, me neither, but it's fine. I printed it out.
Yeah.
So I had to do. My handwriting's so terrible I can't read anything I write. But yes, you can call in, and then if you leave your comments on any of our pages, the modern technology we have today, any of the pages, the Free Solution on Facebook, YouTube, my Twitter, Tim's page, my page, whatever, leave your comments. It all pops up in front of us. We can see it all. And you leave something good, we'll do that. I mean, we have a few issues that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the show. But yeah, if there's topics that the mainstream media isn't getting to that we need to get to, you make sure you leave those comments for that too.
Yeah, that would be great, guys, because I pretty much spend a lot of time reading news, digesting news, and paying attention to news. There's some common themes. Now, so one of the common themes that I want to talk about is that the mainstream media uses what I want to call today racial animus. And this may not be the best way to call it. This may not be the ideal name for it, okay? But if we look back at the beginning of the COVID crisis, as this very highly contagious disease was spreading all over the world, we were talking about a guy in a wet market in China eating bat soup as the origin of this virus. And guys, that was a pile of hogwash, okay? That was literally made up. So the mainstream media hits America and Europe with this notion that people in China have a different way of consuming food that we do, that's foreign to us, that makes us nervous, that kind of freaks us out, right? Like going to a wet market and eating bad soup. Like, I can't even conceive of that, but I knew what my initial reaction was, and I knew what the mainstream media was doing, and they were taking advantage of shock value to get you to listen to their stories about how this disease oriented, started with a guy eating a bowl of bad soup in a market, where this is a commonplace thing. Like this is what these folks do. That is not.
It's an exotic narrative. Like, we're
yeah,
about how this works, which they really do have wet markets over there. Like it's a thing, like it's a wild game market, result of communism. Actually, the only reason those exist is because basically that was the only way people could get food.
Yeah,
Cultural revolution was wild game.
I'm a hunter. I have lots of friends that are hunters and fishermen and stuff like that. And look, I've eaten bear, right? Like, can you imagine? Like, people can't imagine eating bear. Like 90% of the world can't imagine eating bear, but I've had bear in Chile and it was delicious, right? And you can eat, honestly, squirrels, you can eat whatever you want. And it would at least have to appear somewhat foreign to people in China, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So when we get into this conversation, then they flipped the entire script because people started calling it the China virus or the Wuhan Corona COVID virus. And so then anyone that used that in their discussion of COVID was somehow labeled a bigot or a racist. And it was like they flipped the script almost automatically after using racial animus to start the whole conversation. It was... If in the last year, probably one of the biggest highlights of the media using both sides of the story to just again beg for ratings, right? To hurt people's feelings, to get people excited, and to charge more money for, Dove soap or something like that. And by the way, if Dove soap wants to advertise on this program, I could change my tune pretty easily.
Yeah, that's how we get them, Tim. Is match their product. You're negging them, and then we'll work on this. We'll
I probably need some polishing, right?
Yeah, right on. No, it's great. Love it. All right. So I know we're heading to a breaks now. So thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Give us a call if you want to talk about whatever's on your mind. Give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Or leave your comments anywhere we're streaming. We'll be back with more from A Free Solution right after this.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues.
Southern Tier. All right. Thank you.
They also help clients achieve HIPAA,
The Patriot,
PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
What's that? I'm sorry, bud.
The Finger Lakes Castle team is in its 7th decade of factory direct service to the service professional. From cleaning the ins and outs of your vehicle to keeping you on the road, Castle's got you covered. Castle makes streak-proof glass cleaner, FDA-registered sanitizers, and EPA-registered hospital-grade disinfectants. Remember, when you need to keep it clean, use what the pros use. Castle. Accept no substitutes.
Castle keeps it clean.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great
Can you hear me?
with its clients. Whatever the reason may be.
And I'm getting messages in the chat there. I can hear him sometimes, but I can't hear him all the time. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Leading your website, they're hands-on.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at
There, I can hear you better now.
a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, guys, it's me, Tim O'Connor, live on the Voice of Liberty, WYSL 1040 AM, Rochester, Gasport, Spencer, WENI, the Southern Tier, The Patriot, and WACK, Newark, Elmira. This is a free solution. Kevin and I are libertarians. We are rolling into solutions. How'd I do? Give me a grade on that.
Pretty good. WACK is out in Newark, New York. So it's like Wayne County area.
Okay. I have, basically, I took my kid all over the state for wrestling tournaments. So I've met people everywhere, like Brockport, Rochester, Spencer area. So I'm familiar with that. The Southern Tier, the Patriot, we wrestled all over the Southern Tier, out to Horseheads and out to, what is it? Oh, it's all, well, in Elmira and Corning, we've had wrestling tournaments. I mean, we've been basically all over the country for this wrestling gig. And he used to have a blast. We used to love doing it.
Wow. Nice. Travel teams are no joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about some issues though. Let's get to the meat of the substance today. What are we talking about, Tim?
So look, we have a unaccountable legislature in New York State. They literally rule by fiat. It's one party rule, guys. And I'm not a Republican, so there's bipartisanship means nothing to me when we're not crafting solutions. But in the last 12 hours, in the waning hours of this legislative session, 103 bills were put on the floor of the assembly to be debated and voted on. So we don't even know the final aftermath of what's going on. But some of the things that have happened, guys, A 6762B, criminal use of a gun in a obviously any kind of crime. Civilly, the gun seller and the gun manufacturer can also be held responsible now in New York State. So what we're seeing, guys, is this increasing attack on human rights and liberties in New York State. It's constant. It's this notion that somehow everything that anyone makes money at is illegal, or they're guilty of something. They're complicit in a crime. And guys, I think that's offensive, and it's an erosion of personal liberty. What do you think about that, Kevin? Am I crazy there?
Yeah, sure. I'm reminded of what's that quote? It's like whenever you see something bipartisan happen, it means that there's like more deception than usual or something. I'm butchering that. But basically, like anytime like we've come together, and then it's like, wait, you've come together to take more of my money and take more of my rights away. No, don't come together like that, dude.
Yeah, there's a swear word in there that I normally use when I'm having that conversation. I'm going to try, but we're all screwed. Bipartisanship means that we're all equally screwed by our unaccountable leadership, guys. And so there are guys that are fighting stuff like this. My assemblyman and my senator, the guy that I ran against, they both pretty much stand in opposition to bills like this. Okay, which is great, and I appreciate that and I respect that, but somehow we've got to craft a strategy. Everybody in New York State has to craft a strategy, especially in upstate New York, where we seem to be more concerned about these individual liberties and rights. Not that we shouldn't be more concerned about them in these bigger city areas. Okay, guys, there's issues when.
All right, so like, let's talk about the implications of this bill, right? Like, so like the gun bill specifically. So what it does is that, now if a gun is used in like any sort of crime or a mass shooting or whatever, it's not the individual who fired that weapon who's solely responsible for that. It means that the gun manufacturer can face, like I said, some civil liability. They can be sued for someone else picking up that gun and harming someone. An object that was created for, self-defense purposes, hunting purposes, whatever, if it used against the intended purposes, how can these companies be held liable? And I think it can create a couple different problems. Like one is like it will further drive out any gun manufacturers in New York. I know you get Remington's already like getting driven out effectively over in Ilion, New York, closer to your area, but I'm familiar with them from Rome, Utica area. And then, you got to wonder, like, what are the other long-term implications of this, right? Like, are they going to try to foist that liability on gun manufacturers who aren't even present in New York for just selling firearms in New York? And does that mean that it's going to become effectively illegal for certain types of weapons to be sold in New York State?
Yeah, isn't it?
That's the frightening thing, is that can they effectively ban guns by imposing liability in a way that's going to make companies not want to sell here?
Absolutely. It's like an end around. They're not confronting the issue. They're not directly saying, hey, we want to take your guns, because they know at some point people will push back and some people will de-elect them. They will find a better candidate to run against them. And so what they want to do is avoid that confrontation so they can continue in these cushy jobs with this crazy rate of pay plus a per diem, right? They make like $140,000 a year plus a per diem while they're there legislating. It's a great money if you can get it. Plus they get to advertise on our dime, right? They get to put out mailers. Like cost is no limit as long as they're communicating a message on the taxpayer dime. They do, and it's brutal.
Yeah, no. So Look, yeah, side tangent on that. Like, I always find those like so funny. What they call them? Like when I interned for Congress, they'd call them like 499s or something, because they could use in on the congressional level, they could use their franking privileges to send out messages related to like their work in Congress, but only if it's under 500. And so they would send out 499 like pieces all the time to, just certain groups of people and talk about their message. And every member of Congress does it, but like we all pay for that stuff. And New York State has similar stuff where the legislators can communicate their messages, and it's totally not political advertising, guys. Not at all. It's just to keep you, the constituents, informed. They're doing you a favor. So
it's amazing.
But,
man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, and not only that, but they've changed the whole dynamics of campaign finance. Like they now can appeal to the state to fund their campaign coffers. Like, because if it wasn't so ridiculous, it would be funny, and it is funny because it is so ridiculous, and we just allow these people to run roughshod over us continually. I want to tie in, if you don't mind, I want to segue into it's kind of on another legislative concept. They voted to increase penalties against landlords. So for code violations on a state level, and so we
are a favorite punching bag of the left lately.
I know. So we look at this individual concept of ownership and entrepreneurship is often manifested in our state historically in young guys and girls, families buying a 2-family house and renting it out. Okay. And then they move out of that house and they buy another house and they maintain that property. So what we're doing is effectively legislating small startup businesses that are family operated. We're legislating them right out of business. We're not even going to allow them to get into business. And you can take a look at my hometown, and the strict zoning that they've enforced over the years created this opportunity for Airbnb and student rentals only. Like, nobody wants to rent to your average human being off the streets. They want to take this high dollar trade, even if it means that they get less money overall. They have less people in their property and it's easier to maintain. So no one wants to rent to your average everyday human being off the streets because there's no margin in it. There's no rights. They can't get evicted practically. Okay. They could stay there. They could squat on you for months and they can make a mess. And so the laws pass even garbage collection along. Like if the tenant doesn't take care of their garbage properly, the landlord gets the money gets fined, then the money gets added to their tax bill if they don't want to pay it, if they even try to fight it. So basically, we've created this whole situation where the only businesses that people want to rent to are like travel tourism businesses. Now, luckily, we're right next to Cooperstown, so that's a very effective way to make money. But the issue is we've totally chased small entrepreneurs and families out of this rental market, and then we're going to continue to do it. We're going to keep upping the ante. So many people look at New York City and they say, this is how we should force things out to the rest of the state. And they do, and it chases people out of upstate New York, period. Our reality is way different than theirs.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what, Larry talks about this all the time. Him and I talk about this sometimes. It's a different form of living in New York, is a different situation. The way they do their garbage, their streets, their buildings, all that stuff is different. It has to be different. And that's fine. Let them do their thing. Right. But what's going on in your county versus what's going on in Rochester versus what's going on in Livingston County, those are all very different situations. Let counties be counties, let cities be cities. Y'all should have the freedom to be able to figure out how we want to set up our governments, set up our zoning, set up our businesses. We should have the ability to do that. All right, Tim, you want to take us out?
Guys, it's the Voice of Liberty, and it's a free solution with Tim O'Connor and Kevin Wilson. And we're going to solve the world's problems, and it's not going to cost you $10 billion. I swear.
Big promises. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Now it's Dan Bongino, weekday afternoons. AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the Newstead NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll be looking at mainly clear skies, very comfortable weather out there. We'll drop down into the 50s and low 60s on Friday. We'll start off with some sun, then a couple of clouds will build up. Could be a spot shower or rumble of thunder in the afternoon, but most of the day will be dry. Temps in the 70s, just a touch more humid. Clouds should clear early Saturday.
What's that?
Weather Saturday afternoon in the 70s. I'm Rich Cornelia. WSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures
I love it. Thank you guys very much. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. I hope I'm doing okay.
issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
At Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Anthony Drive off Route 96 in Victor, savings are warming up just like the weather. Like the 21 Jeep Gladiator Crew Cab 4x4 pickup, $279 a month for 42 months. A 21 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 is just $229 a month for 36 months. Employer's existing Grand Cherokee lease and be returning lessee. The 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4x4 is only $199 a month for 36 months. Must be Conquest or returning lessee. The 21 Ram 1500 Classic Warlock Quad Cab 4x4 pickup is just $189 a month for 36 months. Must be Conquest or returning lessee. Use 3 Ram coupons while supply lasts. Jeep, America's iconic four-wheel drive brand. $2,500 cash or trade and other conditions apply. Get full details from the dealer, equipment, and MSRP vary by model. We're here to fully serve Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and throughout the Metro and Finger Lakes. Get out of the house and get that new ride you've been wanting. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6560 Anthony Drive in Victor.
There's a place in the village of Avon you and your critters will love. Whether they're big or small, whether they've got hair, fur, or feathers, Avon Feed fits every need. There's a full selection of pet foods for dogs and cats, bird feeders, suet, and dry shot boots and garden shoes. They've got grass and clover seed too. Check out our frequent flyer birdseed program. Buy 10 bags of birdseed, get the next bag free. Choose farm feeds and great equine products like Blue Seal and Nutrina, plus Poland drains. Everything for your pet, from feeding bowls to toys, leads, collars, and tie-outs. Avon Feed and Supply has what the big pet chain stores will never have. Tim Cole and his great knowledgeable staff. And if you think you'll save money at that pet superstore, well, think again. While you're at Avon Feed, don't forget the two-legged pets with River Rat Thousand Island cheese and great flavors, including hard-to-find mean and nasty, plus once again nut butters, Nunday mustards, Dan's garlic, and Rickles pickles. Open weekdays 9 to 6, Saturday 9 to 4. Avon Feed and Supply, West Main Street at the bottom of the hill, just west of the Circle.
When you feel sick for whatever reason, don't wait to get help. Noise Health Urgent Care now offers telemedicine appointments using your device to meet with a provider face-to-face from the comfort of your home. Call 585-243-9595 to schedule an appointment. Noise Health Urgent Care is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, even weekends and holidays. Walk-ins welcome at our Geneseo location, 50 East South Street. Digital X-ray available too. Noise Health Urgent Care. Your health care, your way.
What does it mean to bank locally with Tompkins? It means keeping your money in your community with a team of neighbors to guide you through big decisions and milestones, plus all the convenience of our mobile app where you can manage your account, deposit checks remotely, send money to family and friends.
I live in Maryland, New York. I'm about 10 miles from Cooperstown and about 10 miles from Oneonta.
The team at Tompkins? Visit Tompkins Bank of Castile online or at a branch.
We've got 2 colleges in Oneonta, and we've got the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
And Henrietta is your hometown body shop. Flower City works for all.
Got these amazing baseball camps
your vehicle back to
where they bring kids in from all over the country to play baseball against each other. It's an absolute blast.
Visit flowercitycollision.com.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery offers a great selection of pies, cookies, and dinner rolls. Call 226-9575 and place your order. Livingston County Pizza Company.
I'll bring us back.
Bakery in Avon.
A free solution.
Okay, guys, it's Tim O'Connor on the Voice of Liberty with Kevin Wilson and a free solution. We're live on WYSL 1040 AM, Rochester, Gasport, Spencer. We're live on WENI in the Southern Tier on the Patriot. And we're live on WACK, Newark, and Elmira. Plus, we're live all over Facebook today on at Tim for 51, at Kevin Wilson Libertarian, at A Free Solution. We are bringing the noise today. Guys, so we promised free solutions, Kevin. I actually have a free solution to the landlord-tenant, New York State, heavy-handed mismanagement of our reality. You want to hear it?
Right on. Let's hear it.
All right. So look, there are people that are capable of managing their own reality, right? They can craft an arrangement with a landlord who says, listen, I need you to take care of your own garbage. I need you to paint some rooms. I need you to spackle this, spackle that. I need you to take care of the property, right? And you just have to accept that the property has limitations right now and that you're going to work on these limitations. I'll be responsible for the heating system. I'll be responsible for the roof. I'll be responsible for the outside. You got to be responsible for clearing snow off the sidewalks. Clearing snow off the sidewalks can cost a landlord hundreds of dollars if they anticipate their tenant to clean the sidewalk and the tenant doesn't. Okay, so these are things. They could just simply file a piece of paper and make it legal with the local code enforcement office as an agreement. Yes, the property has certain deficiencies, which, believe me, the code enforcement office delineates out to the very final detail. Like, they get the finest detail. So people could accept that responsibility in return for whatever rent they want to pay. Wouldn't that be a better solution? I'm not saying everybody can do it, but a lot of people really could. A high percentage of competent people could handle an agreement like that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If that's an arrangement that makes sense for you, then do that. Otherwise, like, everything has a cost, right? Like, if you want to offset your cost by doing that, then why not? You should have the option to do so. That's not my business.
Yeah. Guys, I want to give it a little explanation why my headphones are crooked. I got a message from my wife on the Facebook. She's like, your headphones are crooked. You look like a clown. I'm like, the issue I've got, guys, is my brain can only process so much noise at once. So if I take this side off this ear, I can still continue being able to converse. When I put them both on, I start getting this verbal confusion issue with the clean feed and the mics and stuff like that. And I can't listen to Kevin and I can't listen to the other cues. So that's why we're going to work on, if this is really bothering you, let me know. We'll try to fix it. All right.
No, it's all right, Tim. The good thing about, like, many of our listeners, most of our listeners, in fact, they're listening on the radio. They can't see that you look like a clown right now. So now you've just told them, now they know, but like, that's the good part. Like, most of those folks, they can't see that I'm wearing like a dirty, like, beer hat right now.
All right. Well, I want their feedback. So
on the line too, though. James from Rochester. James, what's on your mind?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great, James. How you doing?
Great. This is true. Just a little off the subject, but I thought I would ask it anyway. It regards Facebook. I just want to ask you. I read Eric Snowden's book. I guess it's been about 7 years ago. That the CIA whistleblower. And he made a comment about Facebook. I wanted to see if you guys had heard this. He said that the CIA had put up part of the seed money to start Facebook and to having it go public. I wonder if you guys had heard anything about this, or if this is just hearsay, or if I heard it wrong, or had you heard anything about this? Because that kind of puts questions on Facebook. And, he was saying that Facebook was going to be used as a surveillance device by the CIA, and I wonder if you guys had heard anything about that, or is that just something I imagined?
Yeah, you mind if I field this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so look,
Go ahead and see where you go.
yeah, James, here it is. It doesn't matter if the CIA put up seed money to turn Facebook into an observational area to keep people out of trouble. It is, in fact, very easy to access people's information on Facebook and observe their behavior and observe their goals. So behave on Facebook. And besides, we're not all that kind of crazy nuts anyway, are we? I mean, we're really not out there to like ruin the world and blow things up. So does it matter if the CIA put up seed money? I like Facebook. I talk to a lot of people on Facebook. I have a lot of really enjoyable conversations on Facebook. But I'm not like going to be in the crosshairs of the CIA. So if the CIA wants to monitor people who are purported to do violence and they want to use Facebook to do that, I believe in the non-aggression principle. I mean, tyrants are tyrants. If there may come a time in our history or our future where we have to stand and fight, okay, that's a different reality than perhaps the CIA monitoring Facebook, because I'm sure they do. I do want to talk about Edward Snowden, though, while we're on that subject. And one of Trump's biggest failures was to not pardon a real whistleblower in Edward Snowden. And I'm not a Trump hater, guys. There's libertarians that hate Trump. There's libertarians that like Trump. But the bottom line is why didn't he pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and maybe even Ross Ulbricht? Why didn't he do those things? I felt like he really could have struck a blow for liberty if he had. So where do we go from there?
Yeah. Then James,
I agree. But I think Snowden was kind of making the reason he mentioned that. I think he was trying to make a point. You know, if he said the CIA put up the seed money, he was trying to, he's trying to inflame. He said that for a reason. He didn't just say, and it was kind of a negative. Yeah, I kind of read it as a negative when I read that book. And but it was definitely like it was not a compliment to the CIA.
No,
that's
sure.
the way I read it.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick. You know, again, whether the CIA put up money or the NSA put up money, or whoever put up money, listen, I'm kind of with Tim here. I'm not sure it matters. Like anytime you put your information out public in a place like Facebook, Twitter, wherever, like you're gonna be monitored by someone, right? Like it's not private. Either companies are gonna monitor you to sell you stuff. Sorry, that's me. That's literally my job to do that. Or I don't collect the data on you. I just sell you the stuff. Or governments are going to do it. And so if you're putting anything nefarious out there, they're going to pay attention. So I'm kind of with it. Like they could have done it. They could have not done it, but people are voluntarily giving up this information. If you want the government to know your business, you just got to not put it on Facebook. Like that's the deal. Like you've got to like be proactive, take responsibility for yourself and just say, I'm not going to put my business out there, or, take other measures. If you want to have communications with people that the government isn't going to see, you've got to take that extra step to have encrypted communications, not post everything on Facebook and Twitter, encrypted emails. There's a whole bunch of resources on that. There are things you can do to protect your privacy. And I think like Edward Snowden, really exposed some of the other ways in which government is creepy in tracking your information. The NSA, like keystroke tracking, the metadata tracking, where they could track like where your phone had gone and all that stuff, and then all the other information about that. Like I didn't consent to giving that information to the public. I find it much creepier when the government's tracking you. Like I'm more worried about like Google, even though I give them so much money in my job. You have no idea. I'm more worried about them than I am about Facebook, to be honest, although there's a whole bunch of politics around that. James, you got anything else to add before we cut you off?
One last comment. You say you're libertarian. I heard a comment. I was in Seattle at a book signing. Just tell me if this is a libertarian or a remark. He said that whenever the traffic lights go out in the United States and the government's really upset when there are no accidents, is that a libertarian phrase or anarchist? Is that an anarchist phrase?
Listen, libertarians would get rid of the roads, brother. We'd get rid of them. I'm not kidding. If we didn't have roads, we'd have flying cars. All right.
There we go. I think there's a Gary Johnson quote that said, you're a real libertarian if you're stuck at a red light for more than a few minutes and you decide to go. You're not going to let that government light tell you what to do. If it's safe to go, I'm not giving that advice legally, guys.
My 15-year-old kid is the biggest libertarian on the planet, though, because if I stop at a red light and there's no one there, he almost immediately starts yelling at me to drive through it. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just don't know.
And that's why Tim's not a real libertarian.
I will never be a perfect libertarian, even though I try, man. James, thank you so much.
Very cool. Very cool, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Love your show.
Yeah, James, you're going to have our next segment. We're going to talk about conspiracy theories versus conspiracy realities. And I think a guy that wants to think about whether the CIA is funding Facebook, I think you might enjoy that. So I hope you stick around and listen to it.
All right. So thanks so much for joining us here on A Free Solution. Tim O'Connor's hosting today. Me, Kevin Wilson, I'm just sitting in the back seat a little bit more. But thanks for joining us. If you want to participate in the discussion, I'm going to give you the 800 number. We have an 800 number too, 866-552-1009. That's 866-552-1009. We'll be back with more from A Free Solution in just a few minutes.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, He is my refuge and my fortress, for He will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease.
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also small.
What's that?
We'll treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36. So if the Son
10-4, that's great.
We'll be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800.
I can't wait for that to happen, though. I want to be honest with you.
This goal.
Thanks for calling in.
Behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable.
You got quiet again on me. I think you got to lean
cause
in.
unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Whatever your business IT needs are.
Yeah, you should, man. You should. I can tell I deserve it.
You've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Me or you?
You go.
Guys, it's Tim O'Connor and Kevin Wilson. We are live on the Voice of Liberty, a WYSL, 1040 AM, Rochester, Gasport, Spencer, WENI in the Southern Tier, The Patriot, and WACK in Newark. This is a free solution.
Yeah. All right. Yep, that's right. We're here. And of course, we're also live on the Free Solution Facebook page, a Free Solution YouTube channel, the Tim O'Connor page, the Kevin Wilson page, all over the place. Guys, thank you for listening and watching today. And of course, you can leave your comments online and we can put those on air if they're good. They got to be good though. Or give us a call like the gentleman last segment did. Give us a call 866-552-1009. That's the 800 number, 866-552-1009 or 585-346-3000, 585-346-3000 if you're in the Rochester area, whichever you prefer. Either number works. It's all okay. Now, Tim, where are we going next? I'm excited.
So that last caller kind of segued perfectly into one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. We have come to a point in our history where people get labeled as conspiracy theorists, like they're crazy, and we dismiss them, when in fact their conspiracies are actually pretty close to the truth. For example, guys, Zero Hedge, kind of an alternative media platform, came out with the notion back in March that COVID was a genetically engineered virus. They published work by a real scientist describing gene pairing and how certain types of gene pairings don't occur in nature, and COVID had this gene pairing. Now, the blowback against Zero Hedge was they were labeled as conspiracy theorists by Twitter and Facebook, and they lost their platform. Their stuff was unable to be shared. They were unable to communicate this information. And sure, did it probably drive traffic to Zero Hedge's actual website at first? Yes. But then their subsequent articles for months and months and months. And as a matter of fact, Twitter just allowed them to start posting again about 6 weeks ago. They lost all of that communication, and they weren't conspiracy theorists, right? They were presenting a scientific possibility, which turns out is incredibly plausible and perhaps even real. Okay, I don't want to say that it's perfectly correct, but the New York Times has now printed or reprinted that study that they were relying on, and we're going to see that this, even Fauci, guys, is admitting that this probably or possibly was developed in a lab.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that Monday and then like Friday a couple weeks ago. Like there really was gain of function research happening, right? There really was some stuff. Gain of function research meaning basically like genetic modification of viruses to make them more dangerous for people. In theory, right? In theory, to be able to find cures proactively for that. In theory, but they're like, yeah, that was labeled as a conspiracy theory. And listen, I'll say this about Zero Hedge. Whenever I read something from Zero Hedge, like either they've like actually uncovered something incredible or it's completely bonkers nonsense. Like I enjoy reading them. It's just like you get kind of both there, and you've got to be concerned like, oh, is this plausible? Are they citing legit sources or like? And again, but that being said, they should have the ability to be able to post on these platforms. That's my criticism of Facebook and Twitter. I get that, they want to cut down on like actual misinformation, dangerous stuff. I get their intention. However, when you do that and then you end up shutting down what turns out to be real news and plausible like theories about origins of COVID-19, you've now created so much more distrust than what was there before.
Yeah. And here's another thing that isn't a conspiracy theory. The virus and its impact on the entire world, okay, isn't a conspiracy theory, okay? It's real. People need to take care of it, but the information, the way that it was communicated and the reality of the dangers were over communicated. They were politicized. Issues like HCQ and ivermectin, okay, those things were politicized for political gain. And so I think you and I in the past maybe debated a little bit about HCQ, which is fine. We don't necessarily have to agree or disagree. The issue was it plausible that ivermectin or HCQ could treat early stage COVID? And were there statistical anomalies that pointed to their use as possibly a proactive way to treat COVID, especially in older at-risk patients? And I think that again, there's accumulated body of work that says it is very likely that ACQ and ivermectin have positive impacts on early stage COVID treatment for older people.
Yeah, so like the from what I've read, but the HCQ, it seemed like it looked promising at first, but like maybe there wasn't really much to it. Ivermectin, kind of like the jury's still a bit out on that, at least in my mind. And I did a whole show on this, like, I don't know, 2-3 months ago or whatever, where basically it became like very hard to even study this. And a lot of doctors were strongly discouraged from using ivermectin with their patients, even though there was maybe some little bit of evidence to suggest that it could be good for stopping like kind of the like rapid development of COVID in people, right? Like
the cytokine storm, right? The cytokine storm, that's where your whole lung and pulmonary system become inflamed and involved in reacting and trying to fight the virus, which actually fighting the virus is, as with so many diseases, the actual fighting of the virus is what creates the reaction that shortens people's life expectancy. Let's try to find the best way to say that, you know?
Yeah, right. So like the issue with that, like, you know, with social media companies, stuff like that is like you can talk about it on social media, right? I think the part gets tricky where some people are like, the virus doesn't even matter. Just take ivermectin as a preventative. You don't need vaccines. You don't need any of this other stuff. And then like that, you're like, well, that's not proven. Like we don't know that that's true. And so the companies, they're put in a position of like, well, do we shut that down? You know, and then what if it does turn out to be true? Because there's some little bit of evidence to suggest that it might help. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So like let's explore that. Instead, they're like, well, you know, we're gonna shut all that conversation down, not allow any of that discussion to happen at all. And then everything looks like a conspiracy. Like, oh, look, it must be working because Facebook is shutting it down, and now we're in a whole spiral.
I agree. So this can be a whole show, right? Like where we talk about what Facebook and Twitter's obligations and responsibilities are as far as it comes to what Tim O'Connor and Kevin Wilson say on A Free Solution. What is Facebook's responsibility to censor that, to protect people from our radical, crazy libertarian ideas about individual rights, individual liberties, gun ownership, property rights, taxes being too high in this crazy state. Like what is their responsibility to censor that information and stop that from reaching other people?
Right. Like I'm waiting for like the fact check on my like post about like taxes in New York State are way too high. Actually, they're not.
They're not as high as Manila in the Philippines, which has the actual highest tax rate in the entire world of 72%. And like that's the kind of parsing of words that drives me crazy. There was one of our meme lords posted a meme on our Otsego County page. Comes back with this fact check that's basically irrelevant, and it says Fauci's emails weren't leaked; they were foiled. And it's like, do you even need to explain that? Like, who cares? They're out there.
Getting hairs. All right, so I think we're about running out of time, though.
I know. I feel like we could go on. Tomorrow we'll do some more of this conspiracy realist versus conspiracy theorist.
Heck yeah, sounds fun. So yeah, again, folks, new schedule now. I'm going to be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tim's going to join me on Friday. Larry's on Tuesday. And then Tim is going solo Thursdays from here on out. The training wheels will be off next week. All right. Thanks so much for joining us here on Free Solution. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk to you then.
See you tomorrow, guys. Yeah. I apologize. I don't know. I feel like I heard it somewhere.